Right, Statistics South Africa is moving on with the times. For years, the office has been collecting data through physical visits to homes, workplaces and shops. But COVID-19 has thrown a spanner in the works. The agency is now trying to do things a little differently by collecting data over the phone and on various digital platforms. Statistician General Risenga Maluleke joins me now for more on this. Mr. Maluleke, good evening and thank you so much for your time. Firstly, how useful has technology been to some of the work that you're doing, and do you think it has been successful when it comes to the kind of data that you need to collect?
Firstly is that the change into technology was not dictated by COVID-19 alone. It's just that COVID-19 has made us move a lot more faster than we had planned. We had already been running our sample surveys on electronics, moving into parallel surveys to test some of them. But as it is now, under COVID-19, we have been put on the spotlight to have to move a lot more faster. And indeed, we have deployed some of our surveys, sample surveys, in that direction, for which we have started to churn out some results. So if you ask me, it's a direction we're moving in because everyone is moving in there. And we have already started seeing some results.
Are there any limitations to doing surveys over the phone and even digitally?
There are challenges. One of the things is what we have known all along, not only in South Africa, but all over developing nations, particularly in Africa, the whole issue of the digital divide. And this digital divide puts us in a situation where some members of the community are not having cell phones and smartphones, computer facilities as in PCs and laptops. And if you look here in South Africa, for example, we have in the region of about 90 million cell phones. And these cell phones are in the hands of a few. And indeed, those who have such facilities, some of them are literate in the form of being able to read and write, but being able to deploy such tools and gadgets to beyond just phoning and sending messages is not enough. So we still have a challenge, and it's an issue that we from Stats SA have said that other than asking members of the society to complete the questionnaires online, we will also be having a call center that will be providing support to members of the society. Of course, in relation to Census 2021, which comes next year, of which we are doing the trial run now, one of the things that we are putting in place is that this is just one of the modes of collection. It's not the only mode of collection. We will have other modes of collection that we'll be using, like our own field workers being available to go with smartphones, tablets, and capture the information on site from members of the society. But one thing that we should understand is that if the COVID-19 was the challenges linger longer, even when we have turned the corner in terms of infections, it might require us to look at further options for far-flung areas and remote areas.
When it comes to the actual studies and surveys that you then need to release, talk to me about how many projects are going to be delayed as a result of the lockdown period and you now having to revert to other forms or other means to collect this data.
Firstly, when we deal with the COVID-19, we should not limit it to Stats SA. Kathy, every facet of life in the world, every aspect of life in the whole world has been affected. Just going shopping, a matter that we used to walk into a shop, you have to learn to queue just to go into a shop. When you are in there, the measures that have to be taken. So one of the things that we have faced as Stats SA is that we are not talking about the delays that will happen. We are talking about the delays that have happened already. Our quarterly labor force survey previously of Q1 was delayed. Our GDP was delayed in terms of being made available to the public. Other regular surveys that we release, we had to delay them because during the lockdown, statistics is about people. The issue of data that we churn out is about people and the activities, their activities in society. And as we will remember, during the first stage 5 lockdown, nothing was moving in the entire country. So our members of the public, as well as firms that we rely on from collecting data, had gone standstill. So it had to affect us as well. Now, as we are talking now, the quarterly labor force survey was supposed to have come out this morning. It is delayed until later this month. And these are the effects and the disruptions of the COVID-19 in our country and indeed in the world.
Does the delay in the collection of data have any bearing on its reflection on some of the issues that you would be looking into? So does it mean that you have to change the timeframes under which you're looking at certain things, especially for the surveys? Does it at all affect the credibility of the information that is coming out?
Firstly is that in official statistics, we have what we call series. So once you have data points, more than 2 data points, or regular and availability of information, it starts to form a series. Now, it's one of the biggest issues that any statistician, chief statistician in the world has to consider when they have to break series. Actually, it's not as easy. And one of the things that we are not supposed to do is to start changing questions halfway, unless if they are able to conform to the series, so that future generations can be able to look back and see what we have done. Additions of questions on a questionnaire do not necessarily break series, because they just enrich it for future generations. So one of the things that we have done is we haven't broken series. And when that time comes, in the effect of COVID-19, and its impact on statistics, we'll have to come out public. In terms of the reliability is seen in terms of quality. Firstly is that our response rates are being impacted because our reach to members of the public and to entities like firms is becoming tougher and tougher. But as it happens, one of the things that we have to do as statisticians in official practice, and not in South Africa alone, is that when it starts impacting on quality, we are the first ones to have to say it, number one. Number two is that the statistician general is empowered by the law, the Statistics Act, to have to relegate any product that doesn't meet certain quality statistics apparatus to, from official statistics to a level of just any statistics. So when that time comes, we'll inform the public. But whatever we make public now as official statistics does stand the test of time, and in future it will be able to stand the veracity for purposes of even being used by future generations and indeed forming part of the series. That is number one. Number two, in relation to that, is that should it happen that quality is impacted, not even by COVID-19, by any circumstances, we also have to inform other agencies and even delays that occur in our products, like the quarterly labor force survey. It's part of the special data dissemination standards that we have agreed with the IMF as a country, and we have to inform them. That is number one. Number two. Number three is that we have to operate in terms of the fundamental principles of official statistics that are designed by the United Nations, as well as the African Charter on Statistics, in line with our Statistics Act, to be able to protect the quality of official statistics. Thanks.